It's the holiday season, so whoop-de-doo and dickory-dock. How does that song go? I don't know. This is the Leal Legacy.
Who's the leader of the pack, bringing legacy to you? Legacy, it's true. Stand up, gear up, join the fight. We're as fierce as we can be. With grit and might, we claim the night. We're the Legacy. Legacy Club. Legacy Club. Strong and unbreakable. Warriors with fire inside. In our hearts, we're invincible. Legacy Club.
Hoop, dee-doo, and dickory-dock. That's what it is. What did I say? I don't even remember. So long ago. Welcome back. My name, I am Justin Leal. Hence, the Leal Legacy. Welcome back. Welcome back, one and all. Been a little tidbit of time has passed since the last episode. But again, if you are not new here, that's nothing new. We, and I mean me, and the voices in my head, I suppose. That would make it a we. LealLegacy.com is where you want to be to keep up with everything from me. Vlogs, podcasts, merch, and other things. Loads and loads of other things. All at LealLegacy.com. Man, it's a busy time of year. It is a busy time of year, especially for my family. Especially for my family because my wife is a family photographer. And when Christmas card season comes around, let me tell you, it is quite the to-do. The hoop-de-doo and dickory-dock, if you know what I mean. So yeah, man, it's been lots of lots. Couple weeks ago, she had her annual Santa photos, and that is always quite the undertaking for her. And as the supportive husband I am, I really do all I can to take everything else off her plate so she can focus specifically on work. So yeah, that's a large part of why the gap since last episode to this episode. And you know what? Speaking of, we have a vlog over on our Legacy of Leal YouTube or at LealLegacy.com. We have a vlog showcasing. I don't think I wanted to say showcasing. I wanted to say something else, but showcasing is what we're going with. Showcasing our time with Santa, because in her Santa photos, she does block off a set time for our children to meet and have their photos taken with Santa. So you can check that out in our Legacy of Leal vlogs. And I highly recommend you do, because, you know, it's a fun little window. It's a fun little window into the Leal Legacy universe. It's a little kind of behind the scenes, but not really behind the scenes. It's an added aspect. It's more content for you to enjoy. So check it out. And on top of that one, I am currently, right now, working on or editing another vlog, our next vlog to be posted, depicting what I want to say? I don't know. I'm having a hard time with word selection today. Featuring, how about that? Featuring our traditional Black Friday Christmas tree day. We don't do Black Friday. Does anybody do Black Friday anymore? The internet killed Black Friday, didn't it? Amazon. I mean the internet, really, because it's not just Amazon. You can really go to like any company's website where you buy products online and just do it from home and still get the same quote unquote deals, which my wife was actually telling me that Black Friday deals are kind of an illusion. I mean, the deal is there. You're getting a discount from the normal listed price, I suppose. But she was telling me that like even after Black Friday and Cyber Monday, it's companies still offer pretty significant sale prices throughout the holiday season, which makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Why limit yourself to one day or even 2 days? And why is Cyber Monday a thing? Why is that a thing? Because everyone's just shopping cyberly on Black Friday anyway. So, I don't know. What a weird tradition. What a weird tradition Black Friday was. Back in like the early 2000s, 90s. When did Black Friday really become a thing? You know, when was that like put into motion? I think I can vaguely recall like in the 90s people were doing Black Friday. Let's look it up. When did Black Friday start? Oh, wow. Let's see. The term Black Friday began in the 1950s and 60s. Wow. When Philadelphia police used it to describe the chaotic congestion of shoppers and tourists that flooded the city on the day after Thanksgiving. The term eventually spread, and retailers later rebranded it to signify the day of their profits went from being in the red to in the black. Interesting. So the black in Black Friday is about profits. How interesting. I always thought the black in Black Friday was a kind of like a doom and gloom sort of moniker. If you work in retail, it's Black Friday because the chaos is about to ensue. You know what I mean? The worst of consumerism is going to take hold of shoppers, and they're going to resort to their most animalistic urges for cheap TVs. They're gonna revert, their lizard brains are going to trigger, and they are gonna go savage for the deals that are only lasting a day. Philadelphia origins. In the 1950s and 60s, Philadelphia police used Black Friday to describe the heavy traffic and crowds of shoppers that descended on the city after Thanksgiving for the Army-Navy football game. Well, that's a little different or just more in depth to the information we read earlier. Retailer rebranding. Retailers initially disliked the negative connotation of the term and later tried to rebrand it to Big Friday. When that didn't stick, they promoted the idea that Black Friday referred to the day when stores' profits went into the black. A profit from being in the red, a loss. So, the black in Black Friday was originally doom and gloom, like I had initially thought. Pretty metal. Black Friday. Don't know why we ended up here. Spread in popularity. The term gained widespread popularity in the 1980s and 90s. Boom. See? 90s. I knew the 90s was when it was like really prominently coming into the zeitgeist of I don't know. I lost the word. Of culture. Is that the one? Is that the one I wanted? In the 90s with the rise of large retail chains. Well, I grew up in San Diego, and if this started in Philadelphia in the 50s and 60s, it only took like 40 to 30 years to make it to California. Yeah, but like, I don't know why as a child in the 90s I would know the term Black Friday, but even then I feel like there was always that, like, the day of mega sales was always that Friday after Thanksgiving. Now, no one in my family growing up partook in the hysteria of Black Friday. That was very much not a thing for my family, at least. But then, I don't know, like, I don't really, that's not true. I did know some people later on in life that would do like their Thanksgiving meal and then right after head to the stores. I do remember as a child though, like the idea of people having their Thanksgiving meal and then that night heading to the stores to wait in line to shop. But I also feel like that was more around the time of like the release of, PlayStation and Nintendo 64 and things like that, where it was gaming consoles that people would go and wait in line to get, or like a new hit video game. People would go and wait for the store to open. Tickle Me Elmo. That's one. Tickle Me Elmo. That was a hysteria. That was a big thing. I remember seeing like on the news, local news of, people waiting in line overnight to go get their Tickle Me Elmos. Remember that thing? What a weird name. That's Tickle Me Elmo is probably one of the like the toy names that didn't age well. Tickle Me Elmo sounds inappropriate. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're off to a rockin' start on this episode. Oh, yeah. I'm sitting here in the glow of our Christmas tree, of said Christmas tree. That, again, legacy of Leal vlog at leallegacy.com or on YouTube. You can go and check it out and join us on our adventure to go pick out our Christmas tree. We got a good one this year. Solid tree, solid shape. Nice, clean taper from bottom to top. And full, very full. You know what? I actually need to water it before I go to bed tonight. It is still tonight for the next 3 minutes. This is one of those few, very rare occasions that my children have all gone to bed at a human hour before the strike of midnight. So this is nice. And that's also been a factor as of late. Kind of as always, honestly. When my children stay up late, it is very difficult for me to have the motivation to sit and talk to myself for roughly an hour at like 1 a.m. Because I get tired too, believe it or not. Believe it or not, I get tired too. I have aside from this, my other line of work, my other job is physically taxing. For those of you who don't know, I do coach children in the art of mainly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but somewhat mixed martial arts. And you know what? That's actually kind of expanding a little bit. I've been also coaching here and there adult classes as well, which is such a very odd situation I found myself in. Never in my life did I ever think that would be a form of employment that I would find myself in. I love it. I love it a lot. I definitely, if I am to have, I guess, a day job, as one would put it, training others, coaching others on how to be, let's see, what's a fun way to put this? Formally violent is wild. I do say coach because given my rank in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'm not really of the caliber of Jiu-Jitsu practitioner that could confidently train everyone who attends the class. But you know what? I sure as hell can keep time and bark orders. So that's the difference between coaching and training in my mind. Now, my coaches, they train. They are of the brown belt and black belt levels. So they are very qualified to train technique. But I, as a 4-stripe, that's right, 4-stripe white belt, tasting blue belt. I can taste, I can feel the blue belt on the horizon. I definitely can coach. I can definitely be like, all right, everybody, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it, and this is how long we'll be doing it. On a break on 2, 1, 2, everybody claps. I can do that. I can do that pretty well. And then I can look and monitor how people are doing things and help answer and show very basic critiquing opportunities. But, the last time I coached an adult class, I had a blue belt. I said another because I told you I feel it. It's right there. I'm right there with my 4 stripes. I could just, it's within grasp. I had a blue belt and a purple belt in the class, so I sure as hell can't show them anything because they outrank me. They've been doing it longer. They know more than I do. But I can be like, hey, this is the drill. And they'll be like, all right, cool. One day, though. One day. You know how, like, when you have a job and you're training or you're learning to, like, for the promotion? It's the same thing, except my promotion comes in the way of, like, belt ranking. You know what I mean? I'm not shooting for, like, supervisor or manager. I'm just looking at the next belt rank, and that next belt rank qualifies me to do more from a coaching standpoint. Is this interesting to anybody? Maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, back to my Christmas tree. I think we got a good one. We're not able to put ornaments on our Christmas tree, though, because my children are terrorists. 2 of them are. One of them. Maverick he's growing up. He's mellowing out to a degree. He's still a little mischievous menace from time to time. But his menacing behavior pales in comparison to our youngest, Rhodes. Oh boy. That kid is just chaos incarnate. And I know I talk about this quite a bit, and I say it a lot, but you know what? all of that is just because that's my life. This podcast is very much stream of consciousness, and that being the case, a lot of it is just me talking about my life. Now, something hit the ground in my house, and I'm having a hard time telling where it came from. I think it came from our oldest's bedroom. That is the closest within range, within earshot of where I am. But I kind of thought he went to sleep already. So it also makes me think it might have been Bane. But Bane's room is on the opposite side of the house and also upstairs. So for as loud as that crash was, well, not really a crash, but thud, a clatter, as loud as that clatter was, it definitely, hopefully, did not come from his room. Because if it did, that means closer to his room, in his room, that was a much bigger clatter. I was trying to go seasonal with that. You know, I jumped out of bed, or arose such a clatter, or something like that, the night before Christmas. Today is Elf Day. If you are a practicing elf on the shelf individual, well, today is when your elf arrives. Traditionally, I think. Conventionally, I think most people, December 1st is when the elves get here. Usually we say, like, when our tree goes up is when the elves arrive. We have more than one elf in this house because we have more than one childs. Yeah, we have three elves. Our most senior elf that was bestowed upon our oldest is named Buddy. And then Bane's elf, our second elf, his name is Sancho. Not a very Christmassy name, Sancho, but it's Portuguese. I don't think Sancho's Portuguese either, but he looks like a Sancho. You know what I mean? And it works. It's a fun name. He fits his moniker. And this year for Maverick, we have a new elf in the family, and his name is Tinsel. Tinsel. My wife has been on a tinsel kick this holiday season. She wants to put tinsel on our tree, but like I said, we can't really put ornaments on the tree because Rhodes, especially, Maverick probably as well, but especially Rhodes, he will, without a doubt, pull off any ornament we place on our tree. Without question. So even if we did put ornaments on the tree, for any of them to be fragile is just completely out of the question. No chance at all could we have any sort of fragile, meaningful ornaments on the tree. Growing up, my mother, while she was still with us, she had some awesome ornaments. And I don't know if they were truly awesome or if they were just awesome to me because, you know, the sentimental factor. They were the ornaments that I grew up putting on the tree, so they hold a special place in my heart. Every single one of her ornaments, I believe, if I recall, for the most part, were very fragile. Like, she had, like, crystal snowflakes. She had these, like, I feel like ceramic, maybe, like elves and toy soldiers and stuff like that. Ornaments that I would love to have on my tree. But aside from my children unquestionably probably breaking them, they were commandeered by my sibling. I'm not going to get into that because that upsets me to a degree. That, you know, anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna get off that topic before I get angry. Anyhow, but yeah, I don't know. When I was a kid, I could be trusted. I could be trusted with fragile ornaments. So I don't know. I don't know what happened with my kids. I don't know why they are just such savages. It's crazy. Is it something I'm doing as a parent? I don't know. I don't know. Our older two boys, nope, totally chill. Totally chill. Bane, I've raised him since the moment he came into this world, and not once was he a boy who was hell-bent on destruction like his two younger brothers. I've been in our oldest, Rylan, I've been in his life since he was 8 years old, and at least from that time in his life, I've never known him to be hell-bent on destruction, and you know, his life before I came into it, his mother says the same. He was just not the same wild animal that our youngest boys are. So I don't know. Maverick's chilled out, like I said. So maybe if it was just Mav, we could put up some ornaments on our tree. But for the next at least 2 years, we got to be cautious with what we put on our tree. Back to the tinsel thing. My wife has been really into tinsel, and she said, "Do you think we could put tinsel on our tree?" And I'm just like, we can, but you know your kids are gonna mess with it. I mean, how could they not? Like, I don't know what better bait there is than shimmery strands of temptation that draped on our tree. You know what I mean? Like, even beyond ornaments, like if we had like just like the classic ball ornaments on the tree, they would still get messed with, but there's just no bait, not the same kind of bait. You know what I mean? And I bet you saying bait, that popping sounds awesome right now. I don't have headphones on, so I can't really tell how that sounds, but I'm sure that that's a real poppy sound for those of you listening to this. Yeah, tinsel just seems like the next level of temptation. Tinsel Temptation. There you go. That's the episode title. Tinsel Temptation. Man, I love alliteration. Alliteration. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so we haven't done it yet. She definitely bought it. I did see it on our dining room table as of like yesterday. I saw some tinsel. So the woman likes to live on the edge. What can I say? What can I say? She gets something set on her mind and her heart, and she goes for it. I'm a more cautious individual, I think, which is crazy to say. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. You know, at the gym, like within the last couple weeks, we had a new student come in, and like after class, his dad came up to me and he was like, "Man, you were yawning a lot." And I was like, "Bro, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired. I don't know what to tell you, dude. I'm tired." Like, you try teaching these maniacs how to choke each other. It's a different kind of kid that gets into martial arts. You know what I mean? That sticks with it too. Like, they're different. They're different than soccer players or football players or basketball, baseball, you know, any of the other kind of team sports. Like, these are kids who find joy in violence. And I respect that as an individual who shares that affinity. But it's a different kind of tiring, I think. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like other coaches. I feel like a football coach, soccer coaches, whatever. They're just, you know, they're just out there, a dude with like a whistle and a clipboard. You know what I mean? And that's the extent of it. They stand, they watch, they direct. Like, no. Jiu-Jitsu, kids Jiu-Jitsu coaches, I'm in there. I'm in there with Coach Sean. We're demonstrating the drills. You know what I mean? So I'm getting choked. I'm hitting the ground quite a bit. I'm fighting. I mean, you know, fighting, quote unquote. Like, it's not a fight, but going through the motions as if it's a fight. You know what I mean? Like, when we're demonstrating these drills, we're showing what's happening, what we're expecting, and that's a tiring scenario. So yeah, bro, I'm yawning. And beyond coaching the classes, like I go home and it's more kids. And I'm in dad mode, and it's just, I'm chasing them around and he's roughhousing with them, and it's just constant motion for me. Very rarely do I get to be stagnant and just sit still. And I'm almost 40. Like very almost 40. That's insane. You hear that? 40. What? I feel like I'm like 20. And that's a 20-year difference. Isn't it crazy when like you're younger and you think of 40 as like an ancient person almost? It's like, wow, that's old. And here I am on the cusp, January 3rd. January 3rd, I make that leap into the latter portion of my life. Maybe. Who knows? Medical science, technology. Maybe we'll all live to 200. Who truly knows? We'll see, though. I still feel young enough physically. You know what I mean? I'm still involved in combat sports, and that's an undertaking, no matter the age. That's a physically taxing situation, and to be putting myself through that physical taxation at the age of 40 is I don't know. Is that cool? Keeps me young, maybe. I say that, but man, I'm in a constant state of ache. And I wonder if I was 20 years younger, would I still be in that constant state of ache? I don't know. How much of it is age? You know what I mean? How much of it is age to where the I don't know. What am I trying to say? The constant state of ache. You know what I mean? Like, how much of that is related to age? Because even if I was younger, it's still the same, like, physical taxation that I'm going through, like, with the other younger individuals that I train with. You know what I have noticed, though? I don't have that younger dude strength. Like when I roll with like the younger dudes in the class, it's definitely like I resort to I'm very dependent on technique. Like, I'm not necessarily able to overpower like these young bucks that are just like bleeding testosterone. Like, I mean, I think I still have a fair amount of testosterone running through my veins to even like engage in this kind of physicality. But I wonder, had I started this sooner. I mean, I've always been like, I took karate and stuff as a child. And, I always kind of kept up with that physical kind of nature. You know what I mean? Like, even when I wasn't formally training, I was still punching and kicking and, shadow boxing and all that kind of stuff. Anyhow, so I don't know. I am all over the place. Tinsel Temptation. Is that what I was saying earlier for the title? I think it is. Let's look up Elf on the Shelf. When did this whole thing start? Elf on the Shelf. Origin. Let's see. The modern Elf on the Shelf tradition originated from a family tradition started in the 1970s, by Carol Aebersold, 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 is that how you say that? She and her daughters, Shonda Bell, oh, that's one word, Shonda Bell and Krista Pitts, interesting, decided to share it with the world in 2005 by writing the book The Elf on the Shelf, a Christmas tradition that includes, dyslexia, and I kind of got a burp, hold on, excuse me. Writing the book Elf on the Shelf, a Christmas tradition, and including a small elf doll with the book. The book and elf quickly became a commercial success, creating the popular holiday game where an elf is placed in different spots each day to, quote unquote, watch children and report back to Santa. Okay. Family tradition. Carol Aebersold grew up with a similar elf tradition and continued it with her own children, telling them the elf would report back to Santa about their behavior. Sharing the tradition in 2005, Aebersold and her daughters self-published the book to share their family tradition. Commercial success, the book and accompanying elf doll were a massive hit, leading to widespread adoption of the tradition. The rules. The elf's job is to watch children during the day, fly back to the North Pole at night to report to Santa, and then land in a new spot in the home each morning. That sounds very inefficient. Like, can't the elf just send Santa an email? Even 2005, email was a thing. Cell phones were a thing. They can't just call Santa. They got to go all the way back to the North Pole. So you're telling me that Sancho, Buddy, and Tinsel are flying back to the North Pole every night? That's crazy. That's nuts. Like, what? What's the time? How long would that take? I guess with Christmas magic, that could be no time at all. Maybe they got one of those sling rings from Doctor Strange. You know what I mean? The ring, and they makes a little, like, sparkle circle, the Marvel sparkle circle. They just step through. I still think a phone call would be just as efficient. Text, email, anything that just doesn't involve daily travel back and forth. Man, I think I'm tired. That sounds exhausting. Oh, here I go yawning again. Man, that dad was right. I yawn a lot. You yawn because you're not getting a sufficient amount of oxygen to the brain. Is that right? Is that the science behind it? Can you imagine? Can you imagine that you have a family tradition that you let your family created and it becomes a nationwide practice? That is crazy. I mean, I guess that's how, like, all traditions sort of start. Like, it starts with a person or a group of people, and then it spreads from there. But to be to be those people, like, yeah, we came up with this idea and now everybody does it. 2005. I mean, that's like, before or in the midst of like early social media. So it wasn't like somebody was doing this and put it on TikTok and it went viral. It had to spread through their book. Good for them. Good for them. Good for them. It's very cool. Good job, Carol. Carol Abersold. Abersold. So I wonder what Sancho, Tinsel, and Buddy are going to be up to in the morning. Should probably figure that out now. That's the thing. That's the thing. 25 days of like figuring out what these guys are going to do. That is challenging. I wonder how they do it. It sounds like an exhausting situation to be in. Every day, these elves have to be like, all right, how are we going to pose ourselves so we... how are we going to pose ourselves differently every day? The elves that have very elaborate poses, like, they must have a lot of extra time on their hands. Because let me tell you, I have a hard time. If I was an elf, if I was in charge of, well, let's say, if I was the elf and I had to think of a new scenario to be in every day, let me tell you, not an easy thing, not an easy feat, but we make it work. We make it work. Tinsel Temptation. We'll see. And then with the tints, here we go, just bouncing all over the place, just all around, all over. With the tinsel, my wife also wanted to put bows on the tree. Now the bows feel safe. The bows feel safer than tinsel because there's no temptation with the bows. The bows could go ignored by our children. They could see them, maybe mess with them. I say this, but while I was putting the lights on the tree, Rhodes was following him around and, like, for whatever reason, putting some of the lights in his mouth. He's a weird guy. I love him to death, but he's a weird guy. Like, I would put the lights on the tree and they'd be lit up, and he'd go and he'd, like, put his mouth around one of the lights and go to the next and do the same thing. Like, I don't know why in his head that made sense, but it's what he was doing. I really hate to see what he's going to try to do with the tinsel. Like, if I change his diaper and I find tinsel in there, we'll have to remove all the tinsel off the tree. I don't want to be pulling tinsel from his body during diaper changes. Okay, let's move on. Oh, you ever have to do that with a dog? Like a dog eats a rope toy or something and it doesn't quite make it out, and you gotta help extract the remnants from the body. Crazy. You know what? Couple other things. We have gotten back into watching stuff again on TV that's more than just stuff on YouTube. We're listening to podcasts. The latest season of Stranger Things, the first portion of the final season of Stranger Things was released, and we got through it, and I'm liking it. It's pretty cool. It's definitely taking I guess it's always had like a supernatural bend to it, but it feels like it's getting like even more kind of mystical in a way. I guess I don't want to spoil anything for anyone because this is pretty fresh still. So I will say that there is a new, so it's always been like the conventional world and then the upside down. Well, now there's an added portion to the Upside Down, like a realm within a realm sort of thing, it feels like. And that feels very, I don't know, it's a lot. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how it pans out, how it plays out. They went very aggressive with this. So it was like 4 episodes came out around Thanksgiving, and then there's going to be like another batch of 4 episodes on Christmas, and then like a grand finale, if I understand correctly. So that's a very interesting way to go about it. But each episode is like feature film length, so it's wild. I like that. I like that better than just like a movie. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that pans out. So I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But if you're into it, get to watching it if you haven't already. Another thing I will, and I don't really necessarily mind spoiling so much because the movie was in theaters and now it's on Disney Plus, and it's been on Disney Plus for a while. And if you haven't watched it by now, that's your own fault. So if you're not wanting it spoiled, if you're not wanting any sort of like, I don't know, spoilage for it, then what are you waiting for? You know what I mean? If I found time to watch it, like, Lord knows everybody can do it. I finally got around to watching Fantastic Four First Steps. And let me tell you, I really think Marvel is back. Like, the MCU has taken a turn for the better with this Fantastic Four film. Like, I was very impressed with it. I was very impressed with the stylization of the movie. It feels very much like a period piece, but it's not a period piece because it's set like, I guess, modern day, but the whole thing feels like very, is Art Deco the correct terminology? Like very Art Deco 60s vibe. Like, it feels like that, it's got that whole like real retro, late 50s, early mid 1960s aesthetic, which I thought was really cool. And seeing the trailer and seeing like all the artwork leading up to the film, I was like, oh, okay, so this is going to be like Captain America, where we're watching something that happened in the past. No, that wasn't it at all. The Fantastic Four, this iteration of the Fantastic Four takes place in a different universe. So they have in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, they what was I going to say? They established that the MCU, as we know it, is on Earth 616, which is confusing because that's the same Marvel Universe from the comics. The comic book Marvel Universe is 616. And then they're saying the Marvel Cinematic Universe is also 616. But the stories in the Cinematic Universe and the comic books do not align entirely. So that's interesting. They're the same universe, but they haven't been the same stories being told. Like the Civil War that we got in the MCU was not entirely accurate to how the Civil War played out in the comics. Because, of course, in comic books, with issues upon issues and, tie-in issues throughout the various other standalone series. Like there's a lot of story you can tell. And when you try to cram that into like a 2.5 hour movie, you can't exactly get into the same level of storytelling. So I don't know, but what triggered the Marvel Civil War in the comics was different than what triggered the Civil War in the MCU. But again, they're both Earth or Universe 616. So I don't know. But anyhow, the Fantastic Four is on Earth. What was it? 828, I think. Something like that. I could be wrong. I get hit in the head a little bit. And that might factor into this, but I believe it was 828. So that was a really cool reveal. I was like, oh, so it's not a time piece, it's a multiversal piece. Okay, that's neat. And in this universe, on this Earth, I guess technology progressed as it has, in real life and in the 616. But they just stuck with that classic retro aesthetic, which I guess if it is modern day with that aesthetic, could that still be deemed as retro? Retro and modern day are not synonymous. But yeah, I really thought that the story that they went with in Fantastic Four First Steps was really interesting. You know what I mean? It was Fantastic Four facing off against Galactus, but it was more than just like, oh man, we got to save the Earth from being eaten by Galactus. It was, we can very easily stop Galactus from consuming our Earth. However, the toll that he is demanding to save Earth is very personal, and it's an impossible toll for the Fantastic Four to pay. So Galactus says, hey, I won't devour your world if you give me your child. And that is just like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, and as a parent, that's an impossible scenario to be faced with. It's like, I can save the billions of lives on Earth and the billions of lives to come by sacrificing this one life. Now, in theory, it's like, well, yeah, you sacrifice the one to save the many. Okay, cool. And that's the heroic, arc. Heroes put themselves on the line. They make the sacrifice to do the impossible to save the many. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm Spider-Man, I'm one person. If I die saving the world, well, it was worth it because I'm one life lost saving the billions. But as a parent, could you give up your child, your own flesh and blood, a life that you created? Can you give that up for everybody else? Do you betray your child to save a planet? And what a conundrum! What an impossible scenario to be in. And I think it was handled brilliantly. I think they told that story phenomenally. And that has been a gigantic downfall of the MCU, where they sacrificed storytelling for who knows what. Image. That's what I'll call it, image. They wanted to fit very superficial not necessarily expectations, but they wanted to meet very superficial criteria of inclusion and blah, 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 blah. And that came at the sacrifice of dynamic storytelling. And I'm confident in saying that. They were too focused on like the superficial aspect, the visuals, but not the visuals of like solid cinematography. They wanted to sell and tell very like social justice-y kind of stories. And it's like, I'm not here to play these politics in an imaginary world. You know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm interested in. There's enough of that in real life. When I go into pretend world, when I go into fake life, when I go into the land of superheroes or the realm of superheroes, I want compelling storytelling. I don't care for preachy, just what am I saying? I don't want to be preached at. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm interested in. And really the Fantastic Four, mostly not even like the Fantastic Four as a whole, because they all loved little Franklin Richards, the son of Sue and Reed Richards. Johnny Storm is the baby's uncle. Ben Grimm might as well be the baby's uncle because he's best friends with the parents. So this is a family unit. The Fantastic Four are a family, and then they have two of them have a baby together. It's a whole big family. You know what I mean? So none of them could imagine sacrificing a member of that family to even if that act is to save a population of billions. It's just unthinkable. And that's like, that it was very, there was no like preachy, social justice-y message or undertone or anything. It was like, here is a story of an impossible scenario that impossible people have to face and figure out. And I was captivated by it. And, in it. So, of course, when Galactus is like, I'll spare the Earth if you give me your child. Of course, Sue and Reed Richards were like, no, that price is far too high. Like, we are not doing that. So, they went into space and met with Galactus, had that conversation. Galactus said, I'll spare the Earth if you give me your child. They said, no, that toll is too high. Then they had to come back to Earth. Well, everybody on Earth was expecting them to go and defeat Galactus or save the Earth. They went into space to save the Earth, and they were to come back and recount their heroic tale and talk about how they saved everybody. Well, when they got back, and this was all brilliantly acted too, by the way. This was a brilliantly casted film. When they got back to Earth, of course, the first question is, so how did it go? Tell us how you defeated Galactus. And they're sitting there shocked and stunned because they just don't know how to break it to the world that, one, the world is still in danger because they did not defeat Galactus. And two, they have to tell the world, like, well, we could have saved the Earth. We could have saved the world had we very easily, theoretically, per se, easily, quote unquote, easily, we could have done it, but we didn't do it. So we're all still very much in a lot of danger. And the whole like, and in this world, the Fantastic Four are the opposite of Spider-Man. They are globally beloved. They are just, everybody adores the Fantastic Four. So they have to come back being Earth's mightiest heroes, Earth's most beloved individuals. They got to come back and say, not only did we let you down, we had to choose to let you down. And it's just like, how do you break that to the global population of, like, we said no when it came to the opportunity to save you. We said no. All of you are going to die now because we wanted to spare the life of our only child. Like, when you think about it, in theory, of course, there is not a parent on the planet that would sacrifice their child for anything. And if there is a parent that would sacrifice their child for anything, well, they're not a very good parent. Let me tell you. Let me just go ahead and throw that out there. So that was a really, really captivating dilemma to watch unfold. And the way that they regained the faith of humanity and, like, the confidence of the world was, so after the whole world hates them because it's like, wow, you're gonna let us all die, like, you've chosen to let all of us die. Sue Storm gives a speech, and in her speech she says, no, I will not sacrifice my child for the world, but I also will not sacrifice the world for my child. And that was like, that has to be one of the greatest lines in cinematic history. Because it's like, I don't even really know how to put it into words. It's such a, I don't know, just brilliantly written. No, I'm not going to sacrifice my child to save everyone, but I'm also not going to sacrifice everyone to save my child. Meaning, this was not the way that we're going to save the world, but we're not going to give up on saving the world. And that was just like, dang. And of course, that came from Sue Storm. I've always been a big fan of Sue Storm. I've always thought, like, she was just the, I don't know. You know what I mean? There are no characters like Sue Storm. And if you listen to my old podcast Comic Crypt from way back when, that was a stance that we took way back in the Comic Crypt days, where Sue Storm was the epitome of perfection. We had a scale. We rated things on a scale of Sue Storms for a time, because that's how much we admired her. And this movie definitely embodied that whole idea that we had way back when. And then they did crazy things in this movie, wild things. Franklin Richards was born in space. Sue Storm went into space with the Fantastic Four while pregnant to go and confront Galactus. And on their return to Earth, in their emergency return to Earth, Sue Storm goes into labor, like, and Franklin Richards is like born on the edge of in a ship, but like on the edge of a black hole. I was like, what? Not only did she go into space pregnant, but she gave birth in space. It's so crazy. And if you keep up with the comics and you know anything about like the comic versions of these characters, Franklin Richards is like is a being unlike any other. And they really drove that home in this movie. Like, there were multiple times where Sue says something like, we don't know if he's going to be a monster. We don't know if, you know, we don't know what he is. And then there's another part where Reed Richards is talking to Franklin and he's like, I don't know what you are, but if you could tell me, like, that would be very helpful. Like, they are all very much aware that Franklin is something beyond comprehension. And I'm really excited to see where this all goes. Like, this Fantastic Four First Steps really has me hyped for Secret Wars and Doomsday. Like, I really think Marvel has, if they can keep things on track from here, we're on the correct path again, just like we were back in the day with Infinity War and Endgame. Like, we're back in that realm of superhero cinematic awesomeness. So, yeah, check it out if you haven't already. And another really good piece of MCU content that I didn't mention previously, but back in October, I finally got around to watching Marvel Zombies. I say finally, but I think it was like the week it came out, I actually watched it. So I didn't wait a whole, crazy amount of time like I did with Fantastic Four First Steps. But Marvel Zombies was cool too. It was an animated series, not a movie. It was in the style of animation, that the same style that What If was done in, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. They really did something cool with it. I was skeptical. I was like, how is Disney gonna do Marvel Zombies? Like, how is this gonna play out? And it played out very well. I enjoyed it. And the first episode is like Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, Ironheart, Riri Williams, and then Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. And I was like, this is not the cast of characters that I was. This isn't turning this on. This is not a selling point. This grouping of characters, but they definitely pulled it off. And it followed Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel. It followed her. She was the focal point of the series, and I'm not necessarily the biggest Ms. Marvel fan. I don't really hold a lot of interest in her character, but especially the MCU version, because she's such a departure from the comics, which, again, if the comics are Marvel, if it's 616, how can the cinematic universe also be 616? And then just at its base nature of Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, her power set it's completely different between the two. Like, she's like kind of stretchy in the comics, and then in the MCU, she has like light solidification powers or something like that. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. Marvel Zombies was cool too. So I've got some high hopes with everything. Hopefully the days of like the Marvels and Captain America, Brave New World. Hopefully we're past that. She-Hulk. Oh, there was some really challenging pieces of content that we had to choke down for a while in the MCU, and hopefully that's all behind us. But anywho, this is fun. Touched on a lot of topics. It's kind of all over the place a little bit, but I feel like it all makes sense. Tinsel Temptation. There we go. We learned some things. We laughed. We cried. We grew closer. Dare I say, we grew closer. As a unit, as the Legacy Club, we have grown closer. Some little things going on. Some things going on in the Legacy verse. Of course, like I said earlier, everything at leallegacy.com. This is all of these things are centralized at leallegacy.com, but of course you can find them individually across the cyber world, starting with our vlog, our Legacy of Leal vlog. We've been keeping up with it, and I'm pretty proud of that fact. What originated with covering our Disney trips, with our Christmas tree procurement vlog, that marks like the third kind of just like life in Nashville vlog that we've done. Our, a day, not really a day in the life, but like moments of our normal life. So that's cool. But we do have quite a bit of Disney park vlogging still to come. Like, had this idea years ago and definitely documented a number of Disney trips that I had just never gotten around to editing. So like we got stuff going back to 2023. So there is going to be a weird jumping around in the timeline for our Legacy of Leal vlog, but there's a lot of content coming. So yeah, keep a lookout on that. And it's going to be kind of cool too, because we're going to we'll be able to mix in, past documented Disney trips with current time, like home vlogs. So that's going to be neat. Like, we took a trip to Disneyland back in 2023, and I documented the whole thing, shot everything, but never did anything with it until now. Now I've got the mojo, and I've got the motivation and the flow to doing these vlogs. So now it's backtracking and going back to that period of time, and finally doing something with it. So it's gonna be interesting. So keep up with it. Come along, follow along. Legacy of Leal vlogs at leallegacy.com and on the YouTubes. Coinciding with that, we have our little offshoot called Leal Legacy View, which from mainly our Disney trips, we got full and complete ride-throughs of various attractions or watch-throughs or whatnots. Yeah, if you're curious on how things look at the various like Disney parks, check that out too. If you wanna go ride along on, like say Pirates of the Caribbean, you can scope that out on our Leal Legacy View channel. I really enjoy, contrary to how some people feel, true artists of the world, contrary to how they feel. I enjoy experimenting in the realm of AI music. Now, there may be some people who are naysayers and they're just like turned off or disgusted by that thought. And it's like, whatever, dude, whatever. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. Why not? The capability is there. Why not goof around with it? And goof around, I shall. I will. I do. I've embarked on a fun little passion project thing. I don't know, but I've decided to make covers of famous and well-known Disney songs from the Disney parks. I've decided to do hardcore adaptations of various Disney songs. First of them being One Little Spark from Journey into Imagination with Figment at Epcot. So, I don't know. Check that out. Again, leallegacy.com or Leal Legacy Music on YouTube. It's fun. If you're a Disney adult, if you're a Disney fan, and you're familiar with these songs, like, why not? Just see it. Give it a listen. Have fun. No real musicians were harmed in the making of this music, but I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. Check it out. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you don't. Doesn't matter. No feelings are going to be hurt. And then of course, our Legacy by Leal apparel brand. Scope it out. Leal Legacy shop.leallegacy.com or leallegacy.com and click on our shop tab. Go check out our merch. Yeah, our fun merch. If you are one who shares in our fandoms, i.e. mostly Disney or skateboarding or mixed martial arts or whatever else, go check it out. Pick yourself up something nice. Our featured collection right now is neo-traditional tattoo tributes to the 6 US-based Disney park icons. So the Sun Wheel from Disney's California Adventure or California Screamin' or Pixar Pal Around, whatever it is, that big Ferris wheel from California Adventure, Sleeping Beauty's castle from Disneyland, Cinderella's castle from Magic Kingdom, Spaceship Earth from Epcot, Hollywood Tower Hotel from Disney's Hollywood Studios, and then the Tree of Life from Disney's Animal Kingdom. Those 6 Disney park icons, we made neo-traditional tattoo tributes of. And you can go pick it up on various pieces of apparel and other accessories. And then that mixed in with all of our other, Legacy by Leal standard, pieces. Go scope it out. Support if you can. That would be very appreciated. Shop till you drop. Orders over $75 get free shipping. Free shipping. That's right. And you know what? If you join our Legacy Club by visiting leallegacy.com and going all the way to the bottom of our homepage, type in your email, join our Legacy Club, and I will never spam email you. I'll never send you things that don't matter. But what I do send are promo codes to be used in our Legacy by Leal store. And if you're not in the mood to spend money, if you're spending money on other items for Christmas gifts, I mean, if you have a Disney fan in your family or your friend group, Of course, they're going to want a neo-traditional tattoo tribute to their favorite park icon. You know what? Maybe they want all 6. If you're a freak, if you're a Disney annual pass holder to any of the parks, be it Disney World or Disneyland, there's no better gift. There's no better gift. Get them something that they can wear to the parks. You know what I mean? Get them something that they can take to the park and stay hydrated with. Right? Something to keep warm in. I mean, if I didn't make it myself, Lord knows I would want it. I'd be ecstatic to find a series of shirts under the tree, maybe even a mug, a coffee mug in my stocking featuring these designs. I'd be elated. But I digress. If you're not spending money that way, you know what? That's okay. You can still show your support for the Leal legacy by simply following, subscribing, liking, commenting across all your favorite podcast platforms, on YouTube, on Rumble, on social media, just anywhere, interact, follow along, like, subscribe, comment, all of those things. That is just as appreciated as being a patron in our merch store. You know what? Maybe the merch store might be a little bit better, but you know what? It's the thought that counts sometimes. So like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bells where you can and where appropriate. And all that being said, thanks for being a friend and telling a friend, because word of mouth is the best way to help us grow. Anyhow, thanks for listening. Until next time, remember, leallegacy.com. See ya.